cousin into it back from the week off. I don't know how you felt about having that place what it was, but you have to use it for the right reasons. And I guess what's the return been like for them?
Yeah, the week was good. We were able to accomplish a lot of things that needed to happen. One was getting some rest. Had some guys heal up the bumps and bruises. We had a little bit of the crud going through us. And so we took some significant time. We took, I think we went Sunday, Monday off, and then went back Tuesday, Wednesday. And for us to be able to, there aren't a lot of hockey guys that on Thanksgiving get to be with family. It just doesn't happen that way other than your Badger family. And so we had some guys that were within a drivable distance go home and see very important people in their lives, and they actually took some of the other guys with them. So we had some here and some that were back home with their families. And Thursday was a really good day. Then they came back and went to work on Friday and Saturday, and then we took Sunday off. And so far the week's been good. So a lot of positives with the off week. Now it's just impossible, I think, to replicate back-to-back games, and playing on a Friday and a Saturday with practices. That's when we go all the way back to the beginning of the year when you and I talk about not knowing what you're going to get in that first weekend. So now we've just got to reset and get back after it because I know Notre Dame's waiting for us.
When you come off a break, you only got 2 games left before you take another break. The off weeks have been a trick in the past to try and figure out how to be dialed in when the puck drops on that Friday night. Did you try anything different, or do you feel like you're in a better place now to tackle that going into one last week before break?
We've tried some different things. We had a little bit more time off than usual in an off week, so we did that, and then we've tried to adjust some things for this week at getting back and trying to, what I told the guys today about playing hockey, 5-on-5 hockey, and so we've injected a few more opportunities for our guys to play 5-on-5, 4-on-4, even some 3-on-3 over last week, and then really into this week when we had everybody back. So you continue to tinker with things until it really works. And so for us, it's about taking the positives that we've had in the first, really 90% of the first half of the season, and making sure we get a reset and finish. Break doesn't start until Sunday, so we've still got work to do.
Ask about when in the offer he had to go play the Spengler Cup, and I guess the decision he had to make of whether he wanted to do that and miss a couple games here, or whether he wanted to be here for what's going to be an important couple games, and this one might be a really kind of unique chance. How did he go through that, and what was your input on all of that?
Yeah, you know what? I think as far as a coach, when I went all the way back to junior hockey, and you had instances when players had opportunities to play for their country, and when you're real narrowly focused on just what's going on in your world, sometimes you don't understand the opportunities that are out there for others to grow. The tournament in the Spengler Cup, that group's going to find out that's a very difficult tournament to play because they're playing against pros. And so it's an opportunity for him to grow, to represent college hockey, and to represent himself in an environment that he'll be tested. And so from our standpoint as a program, we want to make sure that we're supporting our guys, whether it's World Juniors, whether it's World Championships. Zelenov's going to look at playing with Austria. When you have those opportunities, what I have found as a coach, you do get a better player back than when they leave. One, I always find they're very appreciative of coming back home, depending on where they're playing. And two, the other piece of it is they get dropped into the deep end with ankle weights, and they're asked to achieve something very special as a group in a week to 3 weeks or a month in the World Championship opportunity that they don't get an opportunity to. And so from my standpoint, it's an opportunity for them to grow. They ask and they always worry about, what about our team? You know, and for me, that's up to them to answer that. We talk about it, you know, we're gonna have guys in different positions over this weekend and then the next weekend that we come back after Christmas break that maybe haven't been in those opportunities because of those individuals still being around. You know, I think Hensler and Osborne have put themselves in a really good spot. Now they've got to go earn it at camp to be able to represent their families, our university, and ultimately the country. And so those guys might not be available around that Christmas tournament. Opportunities for others. You know, for us, our most important time of the year is the end of the season. You know, and so these are opportunities for different guys to grow, whether they're here or whether they're somewhere else.
Mike, when you think about it, for men or women who get that opportunity, you think about the experience they're going through. They've got different coaching philosophies, right, compared to what might be here and what the team is doing. They got their mindset that they got to keep straight. They're traveling, they got education, the whole thing. As Kirsten Sims says, I have two brains, is the way she's approaching it. The left side is the Badger brain and the right side is the Olympic brain. But I don't think we think about all of the things that are involved in that.
Well, it's a commitment from the player's standpoint because you don't, really it's just a microcosm of life. You know, whatever it deals you, and you get to those tournaments and you'll have guys that, and I'll use Quinn Finley as an example. When he helped Team USA win a gold medal, he went from being a top 6 guy here playing on the power play and playing major minutes on a consistent basis to going there and being a 11th, 12th, 13th forward, killing penalties, not playing the major minutes. And I thought he handled it like an absolute pro because all he cared about was trying to help that team win a gold medal. That's what we're looking for here. I know, I understand players need to have their minutes, their opportunities. But as you continue to climb that development ladder, you're going to be asked to do different things. The majority of guys in the National Hockey League were leading scorers at some time on their teams in their journey, whether it was at college, whether it was in junior hockey, major junior, the American League, coast. You better have a few eggs in your basket, and that's why those players get those opportunities to play in those moments. When the coaches are asking, hey, what can your guy do? It's usually not just one-dimensional. It's not, can he be a power play guy? It's, can he serve multiple roles on our team if he's asked to? Because once those rosters are locked in, there's not much movement.
How much did the last series at Michigan State and what Eli did in goal kind of change the dynamic of what you're looking to do with goalie, if at all, or is it back to, you know, where you thought you were, or I guess what are you looking forward to this weekend especially?
Well, I think it's a really good point by you going into it. Experience is the best teacher, and now we've got some more, especially with Eli. You know, not only playing Friday the way that he played, but then backing it up on Saturday. I think we've got a couple of guys there that can be called on at any time to go out and try and help you win a hockey game. Prior to that weekend, I felt that, I believed it, but until you see it, it's another thing. Not only from my perspective, from Eli's, from his teammates, you know, the guy at the other end is a pretty accomplished goaltender. And so for him to go in and help us have the weekend that we had, I think that gave him a boost of confidence from his perspective, his teammates, and his coaching staff.
Osborne, any closer to coming back this week, or what's that looking like?
Yep, he's good.
That's obviously a comfort not only for you, but for some people wearing red, white, and blue as they're making some decisions, right?
Yeah, and John Van Beesbrook and I have been in pretty consistent communication just on how he's been progressing. He's had a really good week up until this point, and we need that to just continue, but he's green lighted and he's full go.
I- The World Juniors, I would say, is you have a lot of experience with that. But when it's in Minnesota for a guy like Logan, to potentially be a part of that, be a part of it for a second year in a row, and you had the experience he did last year. How do you expect him to handle that? I mean, that could be a lot for a lot of guys to go into a situation like that with the expectations. What's his mentality, you feel like, of handling that?
It was interesting that you bring that up. We just talked about it the other day out on the rink, just as we were skating around, and for him to be able to do that in his backyard, first and foremost, he's already been a part back when he was part of the national program, and then he comes in here as an underager and goes and helps Team USA win a gold medal. I know he's hoping that his role will be a little bit greater this year. I think it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Now, if you know Logan just goes about his day and enjoys as much about it as he possibly can, and does a pretty good job, especially this last year, I think, of stacking those days and being consistent. And I know that's what Bob and the staff are going to ask him to do there, is go and show your best. His game has grown dramatically, I think, in the last year. And because of that, I think he'll be put in some situations that maybe he wasn't the year previous. But I know he's incredibly excited about it. I can't understand really the idea of, it'd be interesting to ask mom and dad how many tickets they've got to that tournament, because I'm sure a lot of friends and family and really his country are going to be behind him while he's representing Team USA.
You guys on the Zoom have any questions? Otherwise, we're going to move along.
Just one for me, if that's okay. And thanks for taking the time for this. Kind of a big picture question, just with you being around the game for a long time. I'm curious about your assessment of the conference. I know you haven't seen the entire conference yet, but just the strength of the Big Ten, how good is it in your eyes? And then just big picture, can you assess the health of college hockey? It feels like with some of the additions, the CHL guys, more talented draft picks coming through, is this as good as college hockey has ever been in your eyes?
Well, first, this is only year 3 in the Big Ten, and you've got some guys in the league like Bob and Gads at Penn State that have been here a lot longer than I have. But the opportunity to play in the conference when I wasn't a part of it, you could see the ability in the rosters in the Big Ten. And then now being a part of it as a coach and at the University of Wisconsin, there are no easy outs. And I guess the best way I'd explain it, and I've said this before, if you're not really good, if you're not good and you're not on your game, you won't get beat, you'll get embarrassed. And so it's great for our players to be pushed the way that they're pushed during our conference. Because again, if you take a couple of shifts off, that costs you a hockey game. And the best way for teaching guys at our level to play with and without the puck is, sometimes possessing it and sometimes defending it. And take your pick on any team in our conference. I don't think anybody's lining up with their arm in the air saying, yep, that'll be an easy one for us. We still have to, I've seen Penn State on tape. They're dynamic, they're deep, whether you're talking about their forward group or you're talking about their D-core. And we're going to go see a team this weekend that, just went out to the East Coast, and they didn't win both games, but they were competitive, and, they played at BC. And I just think that we're going to be tested on a weekly basis anytime we're in conference. Not that we don't when we play outside that, but the depth of the ability to get up and down the rink and to make plays, I think, is very evident in the Big Ten. And it prepares our guys for not only what they're trying to do here, but what they're trying to do at the next level. And as far as the health of college hockey, I think it's fantastic. When you're starting to see, and I was talking to Tommy Saratori, really we were texting back and forth as he had just left Grand Forks, North Dakota, and it was an overtime game. You know, some of the players that have come from the CHL and have gone to different programs in college hockey, it just makes everybody deeper, or at least gives you the opportunity to open up a player pool that wasn't there before. And as you're seeing, and I'll use Tommy and Bemidji State, I'm going to tell you this: I don't want to pull them at the end of the year. If we're fortunate enough to get to the NCAA tournament, and we have shown this over the past, anybody that gets in that tournament can win it. And I think that's just continuing to get harder as that player pool continues to increase.
In the back.
Thanks, Coach.
Yep.
Hang one sec on the Zoom. Go ahead.
You're kind of in the middle of it now, but is there are there challenges to being away from the Cool Center for an extensive period of time and being away from Badger fans in general?
Well, yeah, there is a little bit, but we're fortunate here because of our facilities, that, you know, whether it's playing in the Cool Center or being over in LeBon, the biggest difference is that you go right or you go left. That's about it. Now, obviously, we enjoy playing in the Cool Center, and so this is a little bit of an anomaly, I think, for us being away as long as we are, and for us, what's on our schedule, we just try and knock down every week to the best of our ability. So it hasn't been that long that it seems a little bit longer when you start looking at days on the calendar. We've got this week, and we don't go on break until Sunday. And then we've got finals, and then we come back and we'll get back here right around Christmas and then turn around and drive a couple hours away. So we look forward to being back here, but our focus right now is trying to continue to stack positivity in our book of business, and that's going to be difficult going to Notre Dame.
Take one more for Zoom if you guys got it.
Hey, Steve.
Cap, how you doing?
It's Cap. How you doing?
Good.
I'll be up there for Saturday's game, so I'll come try to find you. One question just about, I guess Christian Fitzgerald, obviously you had him all 4 years, but he put up 16 his freshman year. You know, he's got 9 already this year. What have you seen to get in his game the difference? Obviously the power plays clicking. Is it just a confidence thing, seeing him go in, or is he made emphasis to shoot the puck more?
Cap, I look forward to seeing you. And yeah, I'm going to say this for Christian. Christian has gotten off to a good start because of the summer that he had. He has become more of a shot first, and we talk about it almost every week. In fact, today we were working a little bit on our power play work in the offensive zone, and he passed one up, and I did skate by and say, "You do realize you lead the country in power play goals. It's okay for you to shoot." He really has made a conscious effort and a physical effort at becoming more of a shot first player. And he got off to a good start, but I think it was because of that mentality. And even though maybe he has not scored as much as he'd like to recently, he's still getting his opportunities. And a lot of that is having that aggressive mentality at shooting a puck. You become such a harder player to defend if you are willing to deliver a puck to the net with authority. And then if that's taken away, you find the next play as opposed to trying to find the next play without somebody having to defend your shot. And I think through his work ethic and what he did this summer and how he's continued through that right now with a move to wing, but he's a guy that in game I can move in the middle, play on the right side, play on the left side. His versatility, I think, has really helped him run the numbers that he's running this year.